All right, everybody. It's President's Day 2021. So I'm going to give you all a special video. My top 10 U.S. President biographies. Well, who am I and why would I be even doing this? I'm Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, The Lonesome Crown, all published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. This is my YouTube channel where I review books, and today we're going to be doing a top 10 U.S. President biographies. And maybe a little political opinion. Indeed. Stay tuned. About halfway through this review, you will be getting some of my political opinions. Now I know, all of you out there, myself included, I don't care about other people's political opinions. Michael Jordan, Tom Cruise, John Bon Jovi, I don't give a what their political opinion is. I don't expect you guys to care what my political opinion is. But we're going to go over some things. Because we are talking about U.S. presidents, we will go over some things. If you want to push the cancel button on me, that's fine, I know. It's cancel culture week this week. But I think we can go, I think we can make it through. I think we can soldier on and plow through this, folks. I mean, yes, the waters will be rough. The seas will get rough. Some of you are going to want to vomit. But I think we can cowboy up and pull through. And we can make this. I mean, I'm wearing my Kid Rock shirt. Whenever we do political, I always wear my American flag Kid Rock shirt, right? Things can't get that bad when you're wearing a Kid Rock shirt. They just can't. Let's get started on the books, my top 10 U.S. President biographies. Oh, if you've been watching my channel, you know that I couldn't keep it to 10. I was looking at the books and I can't leave this one out. So, top 11. All right, let's start. The top 11. And this guy's not even a president. This guy wasn't even a president. But coming in at number 11 and 10 are the biographies of Ben Franklin. I know he was never really a president, but he was very, very influential in the founding of our nation, and he could have been president. He very well could have been president. He was the smartest guy in the room when the Declaration of Independence and, Constitution were being formulated. This book by Walter Isaacson is awesome. This book by H.W. Brands is even awesomer. Two spectacular biographies of Ben Franklin. I love those books. Oh, and by the way, Walter Isaacson will have another book on my list here, and so will H.W. Brands, and we'll get to those when we get to them. Yeah, they both of those writers wrote other presidential biographies, which are on my list. So coming in at number 9, and another guy that was never even president, Alexander Hamilton. Again, another dude at the founding of our nation that was so influential in the construction of our Constitution and the writing of our Declaration of Independence. The dude would have been president, so we can kind of include him on this list. And this is a great book by Ron Chernow. Great book by Ron Chernow, Alexander Hamilton. Dude would have been president if he hadn't got shot. If you don't think that he would have been president, man, I will challenge you to a duel right now. I'll take you out back, we'll count off our steps, we'll turn, and we'll fire our muskets. I'll call you right out. That Alexander Hamilton, he should have been a president. That's why he's on the list. Okay, now let's get serious. Let's get to real presidents, okay? Another book by Ron Chernow. Yeah, I just showed you this Ron Chernow book about Alexander Hamilton. A big, dense, thick book. Here's another big, dense, thick book about George Washington, our first president. Chernow does some great biographies. They are so in-depth. They're challenging to read. I don't mind a challenging read. But these are challenging to read because they are just so dripping in detail of these guys' lives. So that's my number 8, is George Washington, our first president. Goes through everything from his upbringing, his experience as a war general, his experience as president, all of the above. What's next? What's my number? I don't know, where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My number 8 is Eisenhower. Yes, In War and Peace by Gene Edward Smith. Eisenhower. I love this book. Eisenhower. This is a war hero. Eisenhower, born in Abilene, Kansas. I've been to Abilene, Kansas. There's nothing near. I mean, it is flat. It is in the middle of the United States. It is dust bowl, dirt poor. This guy came from the bottom of the barrel and rose up through the ranks at West Point, became one of our great World War II military generals. Fought the Nazis, fought fascism, changed the world, had huge decisions to make regarding atomic bombs, everything else. I mean, I teach, this is just a little aside, I teach life skills to the inmates at the Utah State Prison. And, we teach like anger management, thinking for a change. And lately I've been teaching a course that deals a lot in U.S. history and world history. And one of the parts that we're going over now is World War II, and we're talking a lot about Eisenhower and some of the decisions he made regarding like nuclear war and stuff like that. And I'll be honest, I've learned something about this, about our own country and about our own education system. These inmates are mostly young people. And I mean, a lot younger than me. And I tell them about the nuclear bomb and bombing Hiroshima, of the Holocaust, of Anne Frank, of World War II. These guys have not heard of any of this. It's all new information to them. They're like, wait, the United States dropped a nuclear bomb on Japan? That's the first they've heard of it. And I'm thinking to myself, where have we gone wrong? Did these guys just drop out of school too early in life? Did they get involved in crime? Did they just never have a chance? Or did they go to school? Because some of them have got high school diplomas. I mean, they went to school, and our education systems failed to teach them, which is crazy, which is partly why I read a lot, and partly why I teach what I teach, and partly why I want to teach this kind of stuff to you. I want everybody to become well-read, just so we know the history. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't think it's just the incarcerated individuals in our country that are clueless about a lot of this stuff. I think it's damn near everybody. There's a lot of people that just have not been exposed to a lot of our history. Anyway, what I'm saying, Eisenhower is a great book. If you want to read about a great just war, half of this book is taken up just on World War II stuff, Hitler, Neville Chamberlain, Winston Churchill, Eisenhower, Patton, all the World War II players and all the things that happened in World War II. Great book, great book. Where are we at now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. We're 7, number 7. Oh yeah, we can't go without doing a Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln by Ronald White. Abraham Lincoln. This is a great book. One of our great Republican presidents. One of our great, this book goes from his early life in Illinois up until becoming an abolitionist, to wanting to free the slaves and keep the Union intact. Gettysburg, all of it. This goes to the Civil War, his running for president, his freeing the slaves, all the way up until his assassination at the hands of John Wilkes Booth. This is just a great, great look at one of our greatest presidents, Abraham Lincoln. You can't have a top 10 without having Abraham Lincoln. Okay, what's coming up at number 6? Okay, now we're going to get political, folks. This is where we start to get political, all right? Trust me, it ain't going to be bad. It's not going to be rough. So, now my number 6th favorite U.S. presidential biography, Barack Obama. Oh yeah, I love Barack Obama. I consider Barack Obama to be one of my personal heroes. And we're going to get into this a little bit, because I think we can have heroes on both the left and the right. And the book that I'm going to show you after this one, you'll see what I'm talking about, okay? So Barack Obama, I was never more proud as an American to cast my vote for Barack Obama when he first went against John McCain. Cast my vote for Barack Obama. I was proud to. I wanted to see the first African American U.S. president. And I just thought it was a great moment in U.S. history. Not only that, but I believed in Barack Obama's message of hope. And I genuinely think that Barack Obama is one of the just nicest guys. I just genuinely think he's got everybody's best interest at heart. And I think that goes a long way. And I cast my votes a lot based on who I think is just a decent person. And I voted twice for Barack Obama. And if you want to get technical, we can go through. I mean, I voted when I was a kid, 18 years old. George Bush Sr. was going against a Democrat. I voted George Bush Sr., so I voted Republican. I voted for Bill Clinton twice when I was in college. I was into Bill Clinton. I voted for him twice. So I got a Republican vote and 2 Bill Clinton votes when I was younger. And then George Bush Jr. he went up against Al Gore. Oh, and here I got to tell you, there was no way I was going to vote for Al Gore. No chance in hell I was voting for Al Gore. I mean, this guy, Al Gore, him and his wife Tipper Gore in the 1980s when I was a kid, they launched a crusade to censor all of heavy metal music. I mean, they wanted to cancel all the heavy metal musicians. They put it up in front of Congress. They had congressional hearings about heavy metal music because they wanted to censor it because it was too dangerous for little kids. What about the children? They're listening to the heavy metal music and they're becoming Satanists. No, they were full of crap. There was no way I was voting for Al Gore, so I cast my vote for George Bush Jr., and then he ran again, and I voted for George Bush Jr. again when he ran a second time. So now I've got a vote for George Bush Sr., 2 votes for George Bush Jr., and 2 votes for Bill Clinton. So then Barack Obama went up against John McCain. I thought both guys were pretty good guys. John McCain, a war hero. Barack Obama, first African-American could be president. I cast my vote proudly for Barack Obama. I thought he was great. He's still one of my personal heroes. I voted for him again when he went up against Mitt Romney. Now I'm Mormon. I grew up Mormon. Mitt Romney's a Mormon. At the time, I was having some issues with Mormon Church. Stuff like that. In good conscience, I just didn't want to vote for Mitt Romney. I went ahead and voted for Barack Obama again. So now we've got 1 vote for George Bush Sr., 2 votes for Clinton, 2 votes for George Bush Jr., and now 2 votes for Barack Obama, right? So I'm like voting both ways. Like I'm very middle of the road here, folks. And then we get Hillary Clinton against Donald Trump, and I'm like, the universe has served me up a shit show, and I just bowed out of that. I did not vote for either one of those people. I did not like them. And then this year comes along and we get Biden and Trump. And I'm like, the universe has served me up another turd sandwich. Oh my God. And here's the thing is I struggled a lot this year because I did not like what the left was doing. I did not like what the right was doing. I did not like Antifa. I mean, you can call yourself Antifa, but that don't mean you're anti-fascist, especially when you get caught doing fascist shit all the time. You can put on a red hat, make America great again, but that don't mean that you're going to try to make America great again. It might just make you a big asshole. So I'm like, I don't like the extreme left, and I do not like the extreme right, and I think it's full of hypocrisy on both sides, and we've got Biden, we got Trump, and I hate them. There's no good people anymore, folks. There's no good people to vote for anymore. We need to go back to the days of my heroes. We need to go back to the days of my heroes, and I was disgusted. I didn't have huge problems with Trump at any given point in time. But once he lost the election to Biden, he lost me, especially when those jackasses stormed our nation's capital, those MAGA hat wearing douchebags. That was disgusting. I hated that. My rant is over. See, it wasn't that bad. I blasted both sides. I consider myself a fairly conservative-leaning atheist. So I get hated by both people. I've been canceled by both camps. The religious people don't like me, they cancel me. The far left doesn't like me. The woke side doesn't like me. They cancel me. I don't like woke. I don't like cancel culture. And religious people do it just as much as the far left does it. The extremes on either side I don't like. And that's why a guy like Barack Obama can be my hero and the next guy on my list also. And they're very divergent. Oh, and I just wanted to say, as an aside to all of this, my book, The Forgetting Moon, in July of 2019, was the #2 biggest selling book in the world on Audible, Amazon.com. July 2019. Beating out even the Michelle Obama biography. Now, the book that sat at #1 was the Reese Witherspoon Book Club book, where the crawdads sing. I couldn't quite knock that one off the top, but I did knock Michelle Obama off at #2. I don't know how I would have fared against Barack Obama. Great book. I just read it. We'll be dropping a review later this month. I dig Barack Obama. Like I said, one of my personal heroes. Another one of my personal heroes. Remember, folks, we can have heroes on both sides of the political spectrum. Ronald Reagan. I love Reagan. I love everything about it. I was a child of the 80s. 1980 to 1988, when Reagan was president, were my formative years. I loved Reagan. I dug Reagan. I loved everything about the 80s, from the music, the movies, the TV shows, the books, everything, including Reaganomics and what Reagan brought as our president. I loved it. I knew he was fighting against communism every step of the way. I knew he was fighting against socialism every step of the way. And he stared down Gorbachev, and he stared down the communists. And by God, that Berlin Wall, it crumbled. They tore it down. And that was Ronald Reagan doing it. The cowboy, the tough guy. I like tough guys. And I think that, Ronald Reagan just showed. He gave us a lot of tough guy as a president. Another one of my personal heroes. On the far right, Barack Obama. The far left. We can like both. We can see the good in both. We can also see the bad in both people. There is no, what I'm trying to say is, we're a nation of all different kinds of people. And Reagan was one of my people. I just dig Reagan. And this book by H.R. Brands, who also did this, H.R. Brands also wrote this Ben Franklin bio that I showed you earlier. Well, anyway, let's talk about Reagan. Okay, some of my first introductions to politics was over Reagan and Jimmy Carter. Okay, now here's the thing. I'm a Raiders fan, right? Raider Nation, I'm a Raiders fan. When I was a little kid, the Raiders were going to play on Monday Night Football. Keep in mind, this was back in the day before, NFL Ticket, NFL Network, ESPN. This was back in the day when the only football games you got was whatever your local station put on TV for you. Okay, so the Raiders were going to be on Monday Night Football. I had been anticipating this game for months. Sat down to watch it. A few minutes into the game, breaking news. They stop the game. Breaking news. Jimmy Carter's face comes on and he starts talking. Gives a 2.5-hour press conference on the Iranian, the people that were kidnapped by the Ayatollah Khomeini in Iran, the Iranian hostages and the hostage situation in 2.5 hours. And I'm just like, the Raiders game, man. Asshole, the Raiders game. I missed the whole game. So then Ronald Reagan came along in 1980, and he went up against Jimmy Carter as the president in the presidential election, and Ronald Reagan kicked his ass. Deservedly so. Jimmy Carter broke into the Raiders game. If you want to see presidential ass kicking, just go back and look at all of the states. All of the electoral votes that Ronald Reagan won. He won pretty much every fucking state. It was an ass kicking like you can't believe. Oh, and I was thrilled because I hated Carter for breaking into my Raiders game. Raider Nation. We can have heroes for whatever reason we want, folks. Seriously. Seriously. These guys are both my heroes. And they're on opposite sides of the spectrum. My number 4 favorite novel or presidential is American Sphinx, the Thomas Jefferson by Joseph Ellis. Yeah, I think I relate, of all the people, of all the presidents here, I think I relate to Thomas Jefferson the most. As a conservative-leaning atheist, that's kind of what Jefferson was back in the day. I mean, when people were saying, oh, the U.S. is built upon Christian values, Thomas Jefferson was kind of the one going, no, let's rein that shit back in, you know, folks, because we don't want to be built upon religious stuff, because that's where the problems start, you know. That's where the problems start. So I really enjoyed the Joseph Ellis American Sphinx about Thomas Jefferson, our third president. What else we got going here? Okay, my third favorite presidential biography is another Joseph Ellis book. This time it's His Excellency, another book about George Washington. I remember, you might remember me showing you this one over here early on, written by Ron Chernoff, this big, fat, thick, dense one. Well, this one, His Excellency by Joseph Ellis, is a much better, easier read. And it's like poetry, man. The words are just like butter. They're delicious. This is like literary biography. I mean, this is just great. This is like really thin. You can get through it. It's a real light sketch of George Washington's life and his time as a battle commander and his time as a president and all of that. It's just a really elegant book, a really elegant sketch of George Washington. I really like it. It's a quick read, and you can really get through it fast, and it's just dynamite looking. Now we just talked about, our first president and our third president, Jefferson and Washington. And I know that they owned slaves, and I cannot condone that. In fact, it's kind of a stain on their legacy, as it should be. But, times were what they were. And like I said, the point of this whole video is, can we look at both the good and the bad that people do? And can we come to a common ground? And can we find heroes in all places? John Adams by David McCullough, my second favorite presidential biography. John Adams, oh man. If you want to watch one of the greatest television shows ever put out, just watch the John Adams series that HBO did starring Paul Giamatti. It's based off of this book. And this is a great book. John Adams by David McCullough. And David McCullough is one of our greatest living writers. I mean, you might recognize him. He narrates a lot of the historical documentaries that you find on NPR and, public broadcasting. He also narrates all of his own books, and he writes a lot. David McCullough is a national treasure. And John Adams is a damn fine novel of our second president. My second favorite bio of our second president, John Adams. Great stuff, absolutely great stuff. What is my number one? What could possibly be my number one favorite presidential biography of all time? Well, I will tell you, it's An Unfinished Life about John F. Kennedy. An Unfinished Life. Yeah, I still got the Barnes & Noble discount sticker on it. I tried peeling it off, but it got all gummy and then I just gave up. There's nothing to do with the book. I have been fascinated with the Kennedys since forever. Camelot, Martha's Vineyard, all of their great New England heritages and mansions. They're like they're the princes and princesses of America, the Kennedy clan. All the way from their father to their brother that went off and fought in World War II and died, to John Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy, both assassinated, to Ted Kennedy and Chappaquiddick and the dead girl in the car, all the way to JFK Jr. and his plane crash. I have followed these guys by every step of the way. I've read a lot of books about them. This is my favorite book about the Kennedys. It describes John F. Kennedy's life all the way from when he was little, all the way up to through his presidency until the time that he was assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald on 11/22/63. And one of the things is John F. Kennedy did some great, great things for this country. He almost pulled us out of Vietnam. Should have done. Probably would have done if he hadn't been assassinated. The Bay of Pigs, he handled that. He got our space race going with Russia, and we ended up going to the moon because of the things that John F. Kennedy. I mean, he was, what? Ask not what my country can do for me, but what I can do for my country. Though I botched that, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, this guy is fantastic. I loved John F. Kennedy, and he's taken on such a mythical place in our lives just because of the way he died. Because he was assassinated in a time where we could see it. We saw it. We felt it. I mean, I wasn't alive at the time, but I've certainly watched the movies and the videotape of the exact moment of his death. And he's taken upon, it's just this mythical figure. And this book is just heads and tails better than all the ones I've showed you. And the ones I've showed you are damn fine books. But this thing is fantastic. An Unfinished Life by John Kennedy. So, I mean, what can we learn about all of this is, I have lived through, I told you I voted for George Bush Sr. back in the day. I'm an old dude. I've lived through a lot of presidents. I've been around the world, to Europe, China, Mexico, Canada, Alaska. Alaska's part of the United States. But, and I always love coming back to the United States because I am a patriotic American who can find heroes in all places. And I read all kinds of books from all kinds of perspectives. And I want to encourage the rest of the world to do the same. So they're not like the classes I teach where the students are blown away by things that they should know. People just, we've got to educate ourselves. We've got to educate ourselves and find common ground because let's face it, folks, there is common ground. We've all got friends and families that we love that fall on both the left and the right. And we do not think that they're all Nazis just because they like this guy or this guy, right? We know that they're good people. I'm a good person. I know that all of my viewers are good people. And I follow a lot of my viewers and a lot of you on social media, and I see your political posts. I don't cancel you if I don't quite agree with what you say. And I hope that I don't get canceled for this video. I love my country. I love the presidents. I love some more than others. Some have been absolute train wrecks. But for the most part, what I was going to say is I've lived in this country for a lot of years, seen a lot of presidents come and go, and by God, my life has been beautiful from the start up until now, because I have lived in the greatest nation on this planet. Just by luck, I was born here, but it is what it is. And those were my presidential books. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you all could handle it. But go out and get some of these books, folks, because they are awesome.